Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Cummings. Funeral services have been announced for the Kentucky State Trooper killed yesterday in a car accident. KSP posted the information about Sergeant David Gibbs on its Facebook page. It is a 2-year-old case of a murdered police officer, and investigators hope yearly events help solve the crime. I'm sure a lot of college football fans have this on countdown. That we're just less than a month away from the season. And speaking of school, more than 100,000 JCPS students head back to class on Wednesday. That's why the district set up a hotline for anyone who may have questions about that first day. So do you think that's more of a job or is that more of a vacation? They're going to Puerto Rico. We've been pretty dry for a while, but that's about to change. And if you're getting ready for anything tomorrow morning, you might want to bring your
umbrella.
That's right. Yeah. Community activist Christopher Tueck says he is starting a conversation tour about the impact of gun violence in Louisville. Some bus routes may be a little delayed around Louisville because of TARC changes that took effect today. There will be less frequent service on sections of 4th Street, Broadway and Bardstown Road, and Dixie and Preston highways. The Bullitt County Sheriff's Office is thanking drug dealers, not for what they do, but for messing up and getting caught. It is time to play ball. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher hosted a U.S. Conference of Mayors Play Ball initiative today. The powerful painkiller OxyContin has been approved for children as young as 11. The FDA says it conducted studies to see if the drug's safe enough for young patients. They say Planned Parenthood is hurting Louisville, and today hundreds of protesters hit the streets asking the government to stop supporting it. She's not even in middle school, but is already teaching other young girls about having confidence. Union workers at General Electric will soon vote on a new 4-year contract, but employees seem split, especially as a buyout deal remains uncertain. The recent wet weather is affecting the waterfront. There's flooding all over and debris, but Thunder organizers say even with 6 days until the big event, they are ready for anything. They were deployed to an undisclosed location in the Persian Gulf, but today they're back home in Kentucky. So what's it really like to pilot a 30-foot boat at 200 miles an hour? There are people who do it every year at the Madison Regatta. WDRB's Chris Suter got some insight from one of them who has quite the resume on the water. And of course, a busy night out there along the water because it's the first time in a long time that the fireworks show has come back to the waterfront. It's a nice night too because the rain that we've seen this last couple of weeks finally gone. Representative St. Ange says there are still several unanswered questions about drones, including where they can fly, what information can be collected, and how that information is used. But what about personal drones? How can those be used? And what about your personal privacy? She says that bill will be introduced in just a few weeks.
Ryan.
And you can actually hear a plane going over us right now. We're in the Parkway Village neighborhood, which is just off of Preston Highway. Now, on this side of the street, the government has already paid for certain things like doors, insulation, and windows. But take a couple steps, about 10 steps on this side of the street, residents over here do not qualify. Say, for instance, you want to pick up a bottle of wine after work, or just a case of beer for the weekend. All Aboard Liquors here in LaGrange is one of only 3 places in the entire county where it's currently allowed. They found on August 12th between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m. during rush hour that 59 bikes were in this area, 7 of which did not even use the lane. The mayor saw what was happening, so he parked his car in this parking lot, noticed the suspect running around this tavern, and then watched him run through this alley where he tackled him with police. The bridge is not the only erosion issue. Take, for instance, this area that used to be a parking lot right next to the river. The town says because of what's happening with the pavement, there's bad erosion underneath it, and if something is not done soon, this will end up in the Ohio. The Ruleys have been collecting these displays for more than 40 years. This manger set was one of their first. Now they have more than 250, and as you can imagine, the electric bill is not cheap.
She was diagnosed with cancer and her doctor told her she had 4 months to live. That was 14 years ago. Now
that same Jeffersonville woman is proof that you are never too old to follow your dreams.
I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It's incurable.
84-year-old Mary Davis is not letting that diagnosis defeat her.
God's not ready for me.
The great-grandmother to 6 says she's died twice, once because of an overdose of the wrong chemo drug, then again following another allergic reaction to medication.
You don't see God's face, it's just a light. And he said, not yet, go back. Not yet, go back. So I figure when he gets ready, he's going to take me no matter what.
Mary's been cancer-free now for more than 3 years.
I'm not afraid of death. I'm not afraid.
That's why she decided to live adventurously and cross the final item off her bucket list, jumping out of a plane.
That's the most exciting thing I could think of.
On Friday, she and some friends from church went to Skydive Kentucky in Elizabethtown.
Put your feet out.
At 10,000 feet,
it wasn't scary. but it was weird.
Mary was the last in her group to jump,
I've never had another feeling like that in my life.
her orange scarf keeping her dentures right in place.
I think he said we were going 135 miles an hour.
With a GoPro strapped to her wrist, the free fall was all caught on cam.
But I thought that maybe this is as close as I'll ever get to getting wings.
Just a split second in the clouds before it was time to pull the cord.
And then we were just floating. And that was the most wonderful feeling in the world.
All of her worries gone. No time to think about her cancer or remember the pain.
I don't believe in fear. It's just stupid to be that afraid. You don't have much faith in God if you live in fear.
The ride back to Earth didn't take but a few minutes.
And I said, why can't I just lay back and enjoy this? You know, my arms were out. He said, well, you can, but open your eyes.
After she landed, Mary knew she wanted to do this again. And with one final smile, her bucket list was finally complete.
I don't think there's anything can top it, but I'd try. I figure if I've lived 84 years and did all the things that I've done, I'm one lucky son of a gun.
And Mary says she will skydive again next year with her granddaughter when she finishes nursing school.